Okay, so with this current social climate in our country right now and everything changing, it is no secret people are fighting for change. On your side's Leah Shields now telling us how the current movement has pushed companies to speak up and do something, especially in the hiring process.
After the deaths of George Floyd, Ahmaud Arbery, and Breonna Taylor, thousands of people have taken to the streets in protest, and companies are doing something but a little differently. Many posting online about policy changes and not tolerating racism. We've seen instances locally where a small farmers market business, Moon Booch, was removed from the Riverside Arts Market because of an alleged post saying, quote, "If you donated to the Black Lives Matter, you just gave it directly to the inbreeds."
Into some live event.
Over the weekend, a retired U.S. Navy captain appeared to accidentally go Facebook Live, saying racial slurs and racist language in a conversation. He has since resigned his position as a trustee on the U.S. Naval Academy Alumni Association. Natasha Slaughter with the Society of Human Resource Management says social unrest leads to social awareness.
These national events are requiring that employers and employees have a dialogue about diversity and inclusion and equity and how people are treated in the workplace because, people are no longer silent about it.
Slaughter says not all companies need to post online, but you should be having those conversations internally with your employees about your policies and standards. In Jacksonville, Leah Shields, First Coast News on your side.